Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Rainmaking Time. This is Kim Greenhouse. I really want you to listen carefully to Dr. Farid Khavari. He is the author of Towards a Zero-Cost Economy, a blueprint to create general economic security in a carefree economy. He has a PhD from the University of Bremen and a master's at the University of Hamburg, Germany in economics. He's actually the author of 9 books published in the U.S., Germany, and Iran. He has written numerous articles on energy, economics, and politics, published in economic journals and other publications in the U.S., Germany, and the Netherlands, Austria, and former Yugoslavia and Iran. He is the chairman of the Institute for a Zero-Cost Economy, and he is running for the governor of the state of Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Farid Khavari to It's Rainmaking Time. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't think most of us really consider what you're talking about. What is a zero-cost economy? It's kind of a paradigm blower, you know? What is a zero-cost economy? What are you really saying?
Just say the fact is, Kim, that if the costs keep increasing and the income for a while it will increase and the income could cover the costs, but eventually it will come a time that people lose their job, they get retired, and they get sick, they cannot work, or they have to live on a saving or a fixed income. At that point, if the costs keep rising, every one of us are doomed to poverty. And we cannot maintain that lifestyle, and we have to downsize our lifestyle and eventually end up in poor houses, which is happening at the present time. So what we have to do with the zero-cost economy, what I mean is that we have to implement all types of measures that we could reduce. First, freeze the cost. Secondly, we reduce the cost and eventually eliminate them wherever it's possible. For instance, in energy sector, we could eliminate the cost totally after we implemented and employed systems, energy systems that can produce renewable energies like solar, wind, and the like. At that point, after we paid off this cost of the system, the energy will be free. We can reduce the cost of healthcare drastically, immediately about 30%. We can eliminate the cost of insurance. The same thing.
I need to stop you for just a moment. I just want to go back because you said a lot of things in one mouthful.
Yeah.
When you talk about freezing the cost, to people that are market-oriented, it sounds scary. What do you mean by freezing the costs?
Freezing the cost means that we have to get rid of recurring costs. Just to give you an example, for instance, the oil companies, they think they have to produce oil and gasoline in order to survive. So they go and exploit the oil everywhere in the world. Now we see what's happening in Gulf of Mexico. And we have an environmental problem, a disaster, the worst one in the history of mankind probably. And now this we cannot maintain like that. Now you ask me, what should they do? They should manufacture solar systems, and they can make more money there. And now what happens to people? The recurring cost goes away. People do not need to pay for gasoline on the gas station. They can power their cars with solar energy, with electricity derived from solar energy, and the oil company can manufacture solar system and sell them. You know, there are 9 billion people worldwide. So they will never live that long, any of us, to manufacture all that system in our lifetime. So they should go in that direction. What should FPNL do? Florida Power and Light or other electrical company? They should manufacture solar system or windmills.
I don't know about windmills. I did a show on windmills, and I used to think, too, that windmills should be invested in, only to find out that there's a lot of hidden costs and there's a lot of inefficiency. But I am for you when you talk about solar. My question to you, Farid, is when you talk about reoccurring costs, that's what big companies want to have on their books. And when something becomes an entity, that has a parasitic function, reoccurring costs are critical to a parasitic organism. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. But the issue is the reoccurring cost happens for the consumer. For the company, it is reoccurring income. But they could have that reoccurring income by manufacturing environmentally safe product like solar system and like windmills. Now, there is also wind catcher, which I present on my zero-cost economy, and that is being done. The city I come from, we had for years and years, when the heat outside was like 110 degree, we could have inside our houses around 70 degree cold air. And what really we used to build towers, catch the wind. We do not need too much wind. In desert, sometimes during the summer month, we didn't have at all any kind of wind. We had a little bit breeze. And these wind towers used to catch them, and as they flow downward, the heat used to rise up and dissipate, whereas the cool air would flow inside the building. And this is what we should be doing, passive solar energy or wind energy. We should be creating those kind of things. When I was talking about wind energy, that is another part of it. And I show it on the picture of it on my zerocosteconomy.com, how to do it. And these are the technology we should be doing. Now you would be saying they cannot make money, oil company cannot make money by producing, manufacturing these wind towers and installing on the houses in Florida, in California, in Texas. They could make more money than ever they could wish. Now, there is no environmental problem involving that other than some waste of manufacturing stuff. Other than that, there is nothing there. There is no pollution whatsoever. And these are the things we should be doing, and these companies should be going in those directions. Now remember General Motors and Chrysler. They didn't develop the lithium battery some 10 years ago when they should have been doing that at that time. They didn't do it. And as a result of it, you know what happened to them. Had they done that 10 years ago, GM would have been the most prospering company in the United States.
I have to share something with you that's kind of interesting, and it ties into what you're talking about. There was a gentleman named Ted Levitt who wrote for the Harvard Business Review, and he wrote a phenomenal book called The Marketing Imagination. And in that, he gave an example of how the railroads had the opportunity to get into other methods of transportation. But because they perceived themselves as a railroad company and not a transportation company, they were not poised for the opportunity to expand. And so the oil companies see themselves in the oil industry, in the oil business, very much like the railroads. Only the railroads ended up not expanding to meet the demand of other kinds of transportation. And so they missed the boat. The oil companies will miss the boat too. And that's, I think, what you're saying. They don't see themselves as being part of and integral to and players in these other expanding areas.
Exactly. This is exactly what I'm trying to say, and you said it very well. This is where they should be going. If the object is to make money, they can make it other way also. They are already in different businesses. Go to every gas station, at Shell gas station, BP, you will see they are selling lottery, they are selling foods, they are selling drinks, and all kinds of things, drugs, medicine, everything they are selling there. So they might as well get into solar energy manufacturing, passive